Anger is a form of blindness. It clouds the mind, poisons the heart, and burns the spirit from within. People think anger makes them powerful, but it only makes them weak. When you lose control, you lose awareness, and without awareness, you become a puppet of your emotions. A man who cannot control his temper will destroy everything he has built, his peace, his relationships, and his clarity. You see, power does not come from aggression. It comes from stillness. True mastery is not when you fight the storm, but when you become calm enough that no storm can touch you. I learned through years of discipline that the hardest battle is not the one fought with your fists, but the one fought with your emotions. Every punch, every kick, every breath I took in training was not just about the body, it was about the mind. Because if you can control your mind, you can control your life. Let me share with you 7 powerful lessons that will teach you how to train your mind to stay peaceful in any situation and stop being angry once and for all. 1. Anger is a mirror. It shows you what controls you. Anger is not really about the people or the situations that annoy you. It's about the emotions inside you that you haven't learned to control yet. The world doesn't have the power to upset you unless you hand it that power. Every time you react with anger, you're showing what still owns a part of your peace. When someone says something that irritates you, most people's first instinct is to blame the other person. They made me angry, you tell yourself. But the truth is, no one can make you angry without your permission. Your reaction doesn't come from their words. It comes from your own thoughts about their words. That's why when something triggers you, don't ask, why did they do that? Ask instead, why did I respond like that? That small shift changes everything, because in that moment, you stop being the victim of your emotions and start becoming their observer. Anger is a mirror. It reflects the parts of you that still need healing. It shows you your weaknesses, your insecurities, and your hidden fears. When you feel angry because someone disrespected you, maybe what's really hurting you is your need for validation. When you get angry because someone doesn't listen, maybe it's your fear of being unseen or unheard. When you get angry because you can't control something, maybe it's your fear of uncertainty. Every burst of anger is a signal, not to fight others, but to understand yourself. It's a light pointing toward a wound that still needs attention. The problem is, most people never look into that mirror. They break it instead, yelling, fighting, blaming, and in doing so, they stay blind to the truth inside them. But if you have the courage to look deeply at your anger, you'll realize it's trying to teach you something. It's not your enemy. It's your teacher in disguise. When you face what triggers you, it starts losing its grip on you. When you understand your patterns, you begin to rise above them. Imagine a person trying to push your buttons. If you've already understood those buttons, they can't control you anymore. You become calm, unshakable, and untouchable. That's the real victory. Not controlling the world, but mastering your inner world. So the next time you feel anger rise inside you, pause and look at it like a mirror. Ask yourself, what is this showing me about myself? You'll start to see that every person who frustrates you, every challenge that annoys you is not a punishment. It's a reflection of what you still need to master. Your triggers are your greatest teachers. Learn from them, grow from them, and use them to set yourself free. Because once you understand what controls you, nothing outside of you ever will. 2. Don't react. Observe. The moment you feel anger rise, you stand at a crossroads. One path leads to chaos, the other to mastery. Most people take the first path. They react instantly, without thinking, without breathing. But reaction is the language of weakness. Observation is the language of strength. The instant you react, you hand your power to the situation. The instant you observe, you take it back. When someone disrespects you, your body tightens, your heart races, and your mind floods with words you want to throw back. But in that exact moment, you have a choice. You can let that wave of emotion crash and drown your peace, or you can step back and watch it. Just observe. Notice the anger rise like a fire inside your chest. Feel the heat, the pulse, the storm, but don't act on it. Be the witness, not the flame. Observation creates distance between you and your emotion. It's like stepping out of the storm to watch it from the mountain. You still see the thunder, but you are no longer struck by it. You are aware, calm, and in control. This is where true power lives, in the pause. In martial arts, we call it the space between action and reaction. The master doesn't swing out of emotion, he moves with precision, awareness, and control. His stillness is his strength. Life works the same way. When people provoke you, they expect you to react, to shout, to argue, to prove them right. But when you stay silent and composed, you confuse them, and more importantly, you protect your energy. A calm mind sees clearly, while an angry mind sees only through the fog of ego. When you react, you lose clarity. When you observe, you gain insight. You start to see what's really happening beneath the surface, not just in others, but in yourself. So, when anger appears, breathe. Watch it rise and fall. Let it pass like clouds in the sky. This small act of awareness transforms your anger from a destructive force into a lesson. Because every time you choose observation over reaction, you train your mind to stay peaceful in chaos. You become unshakable. You no longer get dragged into every battle your ego wants to fight. Remember this: the strongest person in the room is not the loudest one. It's the one who doesn't need to react. Control is not about suppressing your feelings, it's about mastering your response. The warrior's calm is not emptiness. It's power under perfect discipline. So don't react. Observe, for the one who observes his anger has already begun to conquer it. 3. The calm mind wins every battle. In every arena of life, whether it's a physical fight, an argument, or a moment of emotional struggle, it is never the strongest body or the loudest voice that wins. It is the calmest mind. Calmness is not weakness. It is a higher form of strength, the kind that cannot be seen but can be felt in every action. A calm mind does not mean a passive mind. It means a mind so clear, so centered, that no chaos can pull it away from its purpose. When you stay calm, you see things for what they truly are, not as your fear paints them, not as your ego twists them, but as they really exist in the present moment. In martial arts, I learned this truth through sweat, failure, and stillness. When you fight with anger, your vision narrows, your judgment fades, and your energy scatters. You start swinging wildly, burning all your strength without direction. You may look fierce, but inside, you're blind. Anger blinds the fighter. Calmness sharpens him. When you stay calm, your movements become precise. You see your opponent's rhythm, their weakness, their intent. Your mind becomes like still water, reflecting everything with perfect clarity. That stillness gives birth to intelligence, and intelligence always defeats aggression. This doesn't apply only in combat, it applies in every situation of life. When you face insults, betrayals, failures, or frustration, your first instinct might be to explode, to defend, to shout, to strike back. But when you do, you lose sight of your real goal. You start fighting for your pride instead of your peace. And pride, when wounded, becomes your biggest enemy. It drags you into emotional fights that have no victory, only exhaustion. A calm mind, however, knows when to act and when to step away. It knows when silence is stronger than words, when patience is more powerful than aggression. When someone tries to pull you into their storm, don't fight the wind. Become the mountain that stands unmoved. Your silence will disarm more enemies than your anger ever could. When you are calm, you also connect with your inner intelligence. That deep, intuitive knowing that guides you toward the best decision. You stop reacting impulsively and start responding wisely. You learn that calmness doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care in a higher way. You care enough to protect your peace, You care enough to not let anger destroy your clarity. Imagine two people arguing. One is red-faced, shouting, trembling with rage. The other stands steady, eyes clear, voice quiet but firm. Who holds the power? Not the one who screams the loudest, but the one who controls himself. The calm person is not avoiding the storm, he has become the eye of it. While others lose control, he remains anchored. That's what mastery looks like. Not in muscles, not in words, but in composure. A calm mind also allows you to recover faster when life hits hard. When you lose something or someone, anger makes you fight reality. You resist, you deny, you suffer. But calmness allows acceptance. You begin to understand that not everything deserves a reaction, that some losses are lessons, and that peace is built in the space between surrender and strength. The calm mind is your greatest weapon, sharper than a sword, lighter than a flame, and stronger than steel. It cannot be provoked easily, and because of that, it cannot be defeated easily. People who can't control themselves will always lose to those who can. So train your mind to return to calmness in every storm. When chaos rises, breathe. When someone tries to provoke you, smile inwardly. When life throws challenges at you, stand tall in silence. Because peace is not found in avoiding the storm, it is found in learning how to stay still within it. And remember this, the calm mind doesn't just win battles, it ends them. 4. Detach from ego. It's the root of all anger. Every ounce of anger that burns within you has a root, and that root is the ego. The ego is the false self, the voice inside that says, I must be respected, I must be right, I must be seen, I must win. It is fragile, loud, and easily wounded. The ego doesn't want truth, it wants validation. It doesn't seek peace, it seeks control. And when it doesn't get what it wants, it lashes out. That's when anger takes over. Think about it. Why do you get angry when someone insults you? Because your ego takes it personally. Why do you feel rage when you lose a debate? Because your ego feels defeated. Why do you shout when someone challenges you? Because your ego feels smaller and tries to look bigger through aggression. The ego thrives on comparison, on proving, on defending. It constantly says, I must not be disrespected. I must not lose. But the truth is, the more you try to protect your ego, the more peace you lose. When I was younger, I too had an ego that screamed louder than my wisdom. In the early days of my martial journey, I thought winning meant proving that I was better, faster, stronger, superior. I wanted the world to recognize my skill. But over time, I realized that every fight driven by ego led to emptiness. The more I tried to prove, the less peace I felt. I had to learn that the greatest opponent I would ever face wasn't another fighter. It was my own ego. Ego makes you fight unnecessary battles. It turns every disagreement into a war, every criticism into an attack. You waste precious energy defending your pride instead of strengthening your character. You lose your calm, not because the world is cruel, but because your ego cannot handle imperfection. Once you begin to understand this, life changes. You start to see that peace doesn't come from being right. It comes from being free. Free from the need to prove, free from the need to be seen, free from the need to win. Detachment from ego doesn't mean you stop caring about yourself. It means you no longer tie your worth to others' opinions. You understand that people can say or think whatever they want. It doesn't define you. Their opinions are reflections of their own mind, not yours. When you detach from ego, insults stop hurting, failures stop breaking you, and praise stops blinding you. You walk through the world steady, balanced, grounded in who you truly are, not in what others think you are. A peaceful warrior doesn't shout his strength. He embodies it. He doesn't seek validation because his confidence is silent. He doesn't need to show power. He simply is power. When someone tries to humiliate him, he smiles inwardly because he knows that anger would mean letting that person control his state of mind. True freedom is when no one can disturb your peace, not because the world has changed, but because you have. You see, ego is like a mask you wear to protect yourself from feeling small. But the more you hold on to it, the heavier it becomes. When you let go of the mask, you realize that you were never small. You were simply hiding behind something false. Without ego, life becomes lighter. You stop competing and start creating. You stop demanding respect and start earning it through quiet strength. You stop seeking approval and start giving compassion.
The ego says, if someone disrespects me, I must respond.
Wisdom says, if someone disrespects me, I'll let my peace respond for me. When you detach from ego, anger fades naturally. It's like pulling out the roots of a weed instead of cutting the leaves. You stop trying to control how others see you, and instead, you master how you see yourself. And once you master that, no insult, no criticism, no failure can touch you. I once read, you can't offend a person who has nothing to prove. That is the essence of true freedom. You stop taking things personally because you finally understand that what others say is a reflection of their reality, not yours. You walk through life with humility, not because you think less of yourself, but because you no longer need to think of yourself all the time. The next time someone tries to provoke you, remember, they're not fighting you, they're fighting their own inner battles. Don't join them. Keep your peace. When your ego screams, defend yourself. Breathe, smile, and let silence win. You'll notice how liberating it feels not to react. Detachment from ego is the art of living lightly. It's understanding that your worth doesn't need to be proven, your dignity doesn't need to be defended, and your peace doesn't need to be sacrificed. When you stop feeding your ego, anger starves and dies. And in that quiet death of ego, something beautiful is born: peace. So train yourself to see through the illusion of I don't live to be admired, live to be aligned. Don't fight to be right, fight to stay calm, because the one who conquers his ego has already conquered the world within. 5. Train your breath. It trains your mind. When your anger takes control, it doesn't begin with your words or actions. It begins with your breath. The moment you get angry, your breathing changes. It becomes shallow, fast, uneven. Your heart rate rises, your muscles tense, and your body prepares for battle. That is nature's reaction, the fight or flight response. But here's the secret. If you can control your breath in those moments, you can control everything else. Because the breath is the bridge between the body and the mind. It's the invisible thread that connects emotion to awareness, chaos to calmness, reaction to response. In every martial art I've practiced, the breath was not something optional. It was the foundation. Without control of your breathing, you have no control of your movements, your focus, or your energy. The breath centers you. It is the silent teacher that keeps you connected to the present. When your breath is calm, your mind becomes clear. When your breath is chaotic, your mind becomes a storm. The problem is, most people breathe unconsciously. They let their emotions dictate their breathing instead of letting their breathing guide their emotions. When anger rises, the first thing you must do is stop and breathe. Take a slow, deep inhale through your nose. Feel your lungs expand. Then exhale gently through your mouth. Do this not once, but several times until your body starts to slow down. It may sound simple, but it's not easy. Because your mind wants to fight, it wants to shout, it wants to act. But the breath reminds you, you are not the emotion. You are the observer. When you learn to breathe consciously, you create space between yourself and your reaction. That space is where wisdom lives. In that space, anger loses its grip on you. Your breath tells your nervous system that you are safe, that you don't need to attack or defend. Your heart rate begins to drop, your muscles relax, and your clarity returns. What was once a fire now becomes a candle, still burning, but under control. In combat, I always taught my students to never hold their breath, because the moment you stop breathing, you stop thinking. The mind freezes. The same applies in life. When you get angry, it's like holding your breath. Your awareness shuts down, your intelligence disappears, and you become a prisoner of your own reaction. But when you breathe deeply, you keep your awareness alive. You keep yourself free. The breath is your most powerful weapon, silent, invisible, and always available. You don't need tools, you don't need rituals, you only need awareness. Even in the middle of an argument, when your blood feels like fire, just inhale deeply and exhale slowly. Don't let your words leave before your breath does. You will notice something miraculous. The heat of anger starts to cool, your tone softens, your thoughts become slower and clearer. What felt unbearable a moment ago now feels manageable. Breath training is also the training of patience. Every controlled breath teaches you that not every impulse deserves action, not every emotion deserves expression. You learn to ride the waves of feeling without drowning in them. You become a master of your inner sea. Your breath becomes your anchor. No matter how rough the waters, you stay grounded. In meditation, in martial arts, and in life, everything returns to the same truth. Control the breath, and you control the mind. That's why the greatest warriors, monks, and masters in history all shared the same discipline, breath awareness. Because it is through breath that you learn how to transform energy. When you are angry, that energy is raw and dangerous. But when you breathe deeply, that same energy becomes strength, focus, and clarity. You are no longer burning uncontrollably. You are refining your fire. Even in your daily life, try this. Whenever you feel tension rising, whether it's a traffic jam, a disagreement, or a failure, stop, close your eyes, and take 10 deep breaths. Don't rush. Let every exhale wash away your irritation. Feel your heart calm down. Feel your body return to balance. Each breath reminds you that peace was never gone. It was simply hidden beneath your reaction. The breath is like the ocean. At the surface, waves rise and crash, representing your thoughts and emotions. But deep below, the water is still and silent. When you train your breath, you sink from the surface chaos to the peaceful depth within. That depth is your real self, untouched by anger, untouched by fear. Remember this truth: your breath is your first teacher and your last companion. It stays with you from your first cry to your final sigh. It is your lifelong guide toward balance. So train it, honor it, use it. Because when you master your breath, you master your state. And when you master your state, no one, not anger, not insult, not chaos, can master you. The next time someone tries to provoke you, don't raise your voice, raise your awareness. Let the world rage if it must. You, breathe. Let your calmness be your reply. Because the one who can control his breath can control his destiny. 6. Let go. You don't need to win every fight. Most anger comes from the need to win. The need to be right, to prove yourself, to have the last word. The ego whispers, don't let them disrespect you. Don't walk away. Show them who you are, but this is where you must be stronger than your emotions. Because true power is not in fighting every battle. It's in knowing which ones are worth your energy. When you understand this, you stop wasting your peace on meaningless arguments and temporary people. You begin to realize that walking away is not a sign of weakness. It is the highest form of self-control. In life, people will provoke you, intentionally or not. They'll test your patience, question your worth, and try to pull you into their storms. And if you take the bait every time, you'll spend your life fighting battles that lead nowhere.
You'll win the argument, but lose your calm. You'll prove your point, but poison your peace. What's the use of victory if it costs you your inner balance? A wise man knows that not every insult deserves a reaction, not every opinion needs correction, and not every fight is worth entering. When I was young, I thought silence was defeat. I thought I had to respond to every challenge, every comment, every doubt. But as I grew in discipline and understanding, I learned that silence is strength. The man who can stay silent when provoked shows mastery that words can never express. When you argue with a fool, you only become part of his game. But when you stay silent, you rise above the level of noise and keep your dignity intact. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care enough to protect your mental state. You start choosing peace over pride. When someone disrespects you, you realize it says more about them than about you. When someone misunderstands you, you no longer rush to defend yourself. You understand that truth doesn't need explanation. It reveals itself over time. When you are falsely accused or insulted, you don't let it disturb your sleep because your worth is not measured by their words. Think of your energy as water in a vessel. Every argument, every negative exchange is like a crack in that vessel. It drains your energy drop by drop. If you keep fighting small battles, you'll soon find yourself empty, bitter, and tired. But if you guard your peace, if you refuse to let every situation drain you, you'll remain full, calm, strong, and alive. Not reacting to negativity doesn't make you weak. It shows that your mind is no longer controlled by impulse. You've evolved beyond the need to prove your value. Many people confuse peace with passivity. They think that if you don't fight back, you've lost. But understand this: letting go is not surrender. It's self-respect. When you walk away from drama, you're saying, "My peace is worth more than this." You're not avoiding conflict out of fear. You're choosing your own freedom over foolishness. You're showing that you are no longer a slave to other people's opinions or behavior. In martial arts, there's a principle. The greatest fighter is the one who never needs to fight. This doesn't mean he's weak. It means he's so centered, so calm, so aware of his power that no one can drag him into unnecessary conflict. He knows that true strength doesn't need to be displayed. It's felt through presence, not proven through aggression. Similarly, in life, the person who can smile, stay silent, and walk away from provocation shows far greater mastery than the one who argues endlessly to protect his pride. The need to win every argument is a trap. You think you're defending your reputation, but in reality, you're feeding your ego. Every time you respond to negativity, you give your peace away. But when you stay calm and choose silence, you keep your power. You walk away still holding your peace, while the other person is left with their chaos. That's the difference between those who react and those who have evolved. One loses control, the other stays untouchable. Remember, the goal in life is not to win arguments, it's to win peace of mind. The more you mature, the more you'll realize that peace is the real victory. You'll stop needing to prove anything because you'll understand that truth doesn't shout. It stands silently and lets time reveal it. When you let go of the need to always be right, you give yourself permission to live freely. You no longer waste hours replaying conversations or trying to make others see your point. You accept that some minds will never understand you, and that's fine. You learn that sometimes walking away from the argument doesn't mean you lost. It means you chose yourself. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, remember this: not everything that deserves your attention deserves your reaction. You don't need to attend every battle your ego is invited to. Keep your energy sacred. Stay calm, stay silent, and stay focused on your growth, because the moment you stop needing to win, you've already won something far greater: peace. When you let go, life flows. You stop wrestling with things beyond your control, and you start mastering what truly matters: your response, your focus, your inner world. That is how you rise. That is how you train your mind to remain peaceful in any situation. The art of letting go is the art of strength. It's the victory of discipline over emotion, wisdom over pride, and peace over chaos. 7. Transform anger into energy. Anger, when uncontrolled, destroys everything it touches: relationships, opportunities, health, and peace of mind. But when mastered, it becomes one of the most powerful sources of energy known to man. You see, anger itself is not evil. It's energy, raw, explosive, and neutral by nature. What makes it destructive or creative depends entirely on how you use it. If you let anger control you, it burns you from within. But if you control it, it can become the fuel that drives your greatness. The secret is not to suppress your anger, but to transform it. When I was young, I too struggled with anger. Every insult felt personal. Every failure felt unbearable. I would train harder, fight harder, and sometimes lose myself in the process. But over the years, I learned something profound. Anger is like fire. If left wild, it burns everything around it. But if you learn to contain it, it becomes the flame that forges steel. The energy that once made me reckless when guided by discipline made me unstoppable. The same anger that once clouded my judgment became the force that sharpened my focus. Anger appears whenever your inner world collides with reality, when something doesn't go your way, when someone disrespects you, when life seems unfair. But instead of letting that energy turn into aggression or bitterness, you can channel it into movement. Use it to build, not destroy. Turn frustration into fuel. Every time you feel that fire rise within you, instead of shouting, move, train, work, create, write, build. Transform that emotional explosion into productive action, because once you learn how to redirect anger, nothing can stop you. Most people waste their anger by releasing it too quickly. They scream, argue, or break things, and afterward they feel weak and empty. But those who master themselves know how to hold that energy like lightning in their hands. They don't explode, they channel. That's what discipline is. The art of transforming emotion into purpose. When you feel angry, you're actually being given a surge of life force, a burst of intensity. You can either waste it in chaos or direct it toward mastery. Every punch I threw, every form I perfected, every idea I refined came from learning how to channel that energy. Anger was no longer my enemy, it was my instrument. Think about the greats, inventors, artists, warriors, thinkers. Many of them were fueled by something that once made them angry: injustice, failure, rejection, limitation. But instead of letting that energy destroy them, they used it to create something extraordinary. The same emotion that could have consumed them instead built their legacy. That is transformation, turning inner fire into outer power. To master anger, you must first understand it. Ask yourself, what lies beneath my anger? Most of the time, it's pain. Pain of not being heard, not being respected, not being understood. Sometimes it's fear. Fear of losing control, of being weak, of being wronged. When you identify the emotion behind the anger, you take away its mystery. You can see it clearly, and once you see it clearly, you can guide it. You stop being the slave of your emotion and become its master. Control doesn't mean suppression. Suppression is dangerous. It's like trapping fire in a box. It will only explode later. True control means acknowledging your anger, feeling it fully, and then consciously deciding what to do with it. When you channel it into your discipline, your training, your work, your art, it becomes creative energy. That is why a warrior can stand calm in the face of insult, but explode with power in battle. The anger is not gone. It has been mastered. In martial arts, I often said, be like water. Water can crash or it can flow. It can destroy rock or nurture life. Anger is the same. When uncontrolled, it crashes and breaks everything. When directed, it flows toward purpose. You can't remove anger from human nature, but you can refine it. You can make it serve you instead of enslaving you. That's the true essence of inner mastery. Not to suppress emotion, but to transform it into something useful. When you feel angry, stop and breathe. Feel the power rising in you. Don't run from it. Don't shout. Don't fight it. Just feel it as pure energy. Then ask yourself, where can I direct this? Maybe you can channel it into improving your health, your discipline, your work, your art, your training. Let it become the reason you grow, not the reason you regret. When anger says, I'll show them, let your work be the answer, not your words. Let your success speak where your temper once would. The truth is, the people who make the biggest impact in life are not the ones who never feel anger. They are the ones who have learned to transform it. They've learned how to burn away weakness, fear, and laziness using that same fire. The difference between destruction and transformation is awareness. Anger without awareness becomes rage. Anger with awareness becomes power, so don't fear your anger. Understand it. It's part of your nature, part of your humanity. The key is to train it as you would train a wild animal, with patience, consistency, and respect. Over time, that same wild force becomes your companion, your strength, your fuel. When someone disrespects you, instead of wasting your power in shouting, build something so great that their words become irrelevant. When life seems unfair, instead of cursing it, use that frustration to push yourself harder, to refine your craft, to master your patience. Every challenge that once triggered you will become another source of strength. Remember this, fire can burn forests or forge swords. The choice is yours. The same anger that can destroy your peace can also awaken your greatness. Don't extinguish it, evolve it. Don't fear it, guide it. So the next time you feel that flame rise inside, smile, for you have been given power. Use it wisely. Turn it into focus, into growth, into relentless action. Because when anger transforms into discipline, you stop being a prisoner of emotion and become the master of energy itself. And that is when you truly embody peace. Not because you killed the fire, but because you learned how to carry it without getting burned. Peace is the ultimate form of power. There is a kind of strength that no amount of muscle or shouting can ever produce. A strength that radiates from a calm heart and a disciplined mind. That strength is peace. Peace is not weakness. It's the highest form of control a human being can reach. Anyone can fight, anyone can argue, anyone can lose their temper. But only a rare few can stay peaceful when everything around them is falling apart. That's true mastery. That's true power. Peace is not something you find outside. It's something you build within. It's not silence in the world. It's silence in your mind. People think peace means nothing happens, no conflict, no pain. But peace means that even when life hits hard, you don't break. It means that you've built a stillness inside that no one can disturb. It's the moment when chaos comes knocking and you open the door with a smile because you know nothing external can control your inner state. That is strength beyond measure. To understand peace, you must first understand chaos. Life will test you through loss, betrayal, stress, and disrespect. People will try to drag you into their drama because they have not found calmness within themselves. They will project their anger, fear, and pain onto you. But if you respond with the same energy, you join their storm. You become part of the same darkness you wish to escape. The key is to learn how to stay centered, no matter what enters your space. I learned this through both combat and life. In martial arts, if you lose your calm, you lose control of your body. The one who remains still inside, even while moving outside, always wins. The opponent can be stronger, faster, louder, but if his mind is disturbed, he's already defeated. The calm fighter, however, sees everything. His focus is sharp, his breath steady, his movements precise. That's not luck. That's the fruit of peace. In life, it's the same. When you act from peace, your decisions come from clarity, not emotion. You see opportunities where others see chaos. You stay composed when others panic. But peace doesn't happen by accident. You must train for it the same way you train your muscles, every day through awareness, reflection, and discipline. Every time someone tries to provoke you and you choose silence, you're training peace. Every time you want to argue but choose understanding, you're training peace. Every time you want to react but instead breathe deeply and let go, you're strengthening that inner muscle that keeps you balanced in the middle of life's storms. Many people think peace is passive. They imagine sitting still, avoiding conflict, or retreating from the world. But true peace is dynamic. It's active strength. It's when you stand in the middle of chaos, yet refuse to let it enter your heart. It's when you speak softly, even when others shout. It's when you walk away from fights, not because you can't win, but because you already have. Peace is the ability to move through life untouched by the negativity of others, like water flowing around a rock, not fighting it, not stopping, just flowing. To live peacefully doesn't mean nothing can hurt you. It means nothing can destroy you. Pain will still come, but you'll no longer be enslaved by it. Anger will still appear, but it will no longer control your actions. Challenges will still arise, but you'll face them with a clear and steady heart. That's the power that turns ordinary people into masters, not the ability to dominate others, but to rule themselves. True peace begins when you stop trying to control the world and start controlling your reactions to it. You can't stop people from being rude, cruel, or unfair. You can't stop life from throwing storms your way. But you can decide how you will respond. You can decide that your peace is not negotiable. You can decide that no one deserves the power to disturb your state of mind. Once you make that decision, you become unshakable. The reason most people never find peace is because they keep waiting for the world to calm down. They say, I'll be peaceful when everything around me is perfect, but the world will never be perfect. People will always test you. The only way to have peace is to bring it with you, to become the calm in the storm. Peace is not the absence of noise. It's the ability to remain centered in the middle of it. When you live with peace, you stop reacting to every small thing. You stop being pulled by emotion, ego, or fear. You start responding from awareness. You start acting from purpose, not impulse. And because of that, you begin to attract peace wherever you go. Your presence itself becomes healing. People feel safe around you, not because you are loud or intimidating, but because you are calm and consistent. That's the energy of a true warrior. Quiet, focused, steady, and grounded. Remember, peace is not given, it's built. It's built through self-awareness, discipline, forgiveness, and letting go. It's built through 1,000 moments of restraint, through learning to stay still when every part of you wants to react. Every time you choose calm over chaos, peace grows stronger within you. It becomes your natural state, not something you chase, but something you carry. When you master peace, you no longer live as a victim of life's circumstances. You become the creator of your state. You could be surrounded by noise, yet remain silent within. You could face anger, yet respond with understanding. You could be surrounded by conflict, yet feel untouched by it. That's what real strength looks like. Not fists, not words, but presence. The one who has mastered peace has mastered life, because peace is not the end of the path, it is the path itself. It's what guides your actions, your relationships, your purpose. And when you live from that space, you realize something profound. Anger wastes energy, but peace creates it. Anger blinds you, but peace gives you vision. Anger chains you, but peace sets you free. So train your mind every day to return to stillness, no matter what comes. When others try to pull you into their storms, remind yourself, I am the calm. When people misunderstand you, remember, I don't need to be understood to be at peace. And when the world becomes loud, close your eyes and breathe. Because in that silence, in that moment of calm, you'll remember who you truly are. The ultimate victory is not defeating others. It's conquering yourself. And when you conquer yourself, you reach the highest form of freedom, a peace that no one can take away. Anger is not your enemy. It is your untrained energy asking for direction. Every outburst, every moment of rage, every time you lose control, it's not life punishing you. It's life testing you. It's asking, have you mastered yourself yet? Because that is what every battle of life truly comes down to. Not strength, not words, not victory over others, but victory over your own emotions. The path to peace is not easy. It demands awareness, patience, and daily discipline. It requires you to stand face to face with your worst impulses, your pride, your fear, your need to control, and say, you don't own me anymore. The person who can stay calm in chaos has already won the war others are still fighting. The one who can observe his anger without being controlled by it has become invincible. Every lesson you've learned, from observing instead of reacting, from detaching from ego, from mastering your breath, from letting go, and from transforming anger into energy, all leads here. Peace. And peace isn't passive, it's the highest expression of power. It's the quiet strength that keeps you grounded when others fall apart. It's the voice inside that whispers, I am still here, when the world shouts against you. When you live with peace, you are no longer tossed around by every emotion, every insult, every storm. You move through life like water, adapting, flowing, and unstoppable. You learn that you don't need to respond to everything. You don't need to prove anything. You simply need to be aware, calm, and present. That's what separates the ordinary from the master, reaction from wisdom, chaos from control. Remember this, anger is temporary, but the damage it causes can be permanent. Peace, on the other hand, is eternal. It protects you from destruction, from regret, from losing yourself. So choose peace, choose silence, choose mastery. Every time life tries to pull you down, return to your center and breathe. You will find that within you there is a stillness that nothing can touch, a power that no chaos can break. True warriors don't fight to destroy others. They fight to discipline themselves. They are calm because they have seen what anger costs. They are peaceful because they have conquered the noise within. That's where real strength is born, not in rage, but in restraint, not in shouting, but in stillness. So from this moment on, make a promise to yourself, I will not let anger rule me. I will observe it, breathe through it, and turn it into fuel for my growth. Because every time I choose calmness over chaos, I'm not losing, I'm evolving. Be like water, gentle, powerful, and free. Flow through every challenge with grace. Let your calmness become your greatest weapon, because in the end, the one who masters peace masters life itself.